All right, and we're live. We're back with Charisse. I love this conversation. Thank you so much for having it with me. So, we're talking about metabolic health, and you were giving the analogy of the Uber drivers and glucose and insulin. One thing, so I'm taking a GLP-1 activator, right? That I noticed because I have the CGM. The first thing that I noticed before I saw a shift in anything else is my blood sugar dropped by like 30, 40 points.
That's
And
huge joy.
And so that's when I was like, look, I want to lose weight and see the number on the scale just like anyone else does. Okay. But when I saw that, I was like, something is happening here. Like, no, the scale's not moving yet, but like this has to be good, right? Like it has to be good that my blood sugar is lower. Yes.
Totally. Yes.
And then, okay. And then, but so what I noticed, and this is how you and I started having this conversation, because I was like, Charisse is the expert on this. Like, I need you to talk me off the ledge, because what I was having was, I think, what you called the reactive hypoglycemia. And all of a sudden, I was dipping low, which is when I stayed high all the time. That was never, ever an issue. I would have the spikes, but I was never too low. Now, all of a sudden, I was like, my CGM's yelling and screaming at me, which panicked me. And I'm like, oh my God, that's bad. And then you explained it to me. When you spike it, and that's actually what's interesting. I'm on week 3, and that has gone away now as I've gotten a grip on my food choices. So it's not that I don't spike. Like, I ate pizza like Saturday night as a family. Like, we got some gluten-free Domino's pizza, which is not good. Like, I knew it wasn't good. I knew it was going to spike me, and it did. But what's interesting to me is, as the food noise is gone, I feel like I can make better choices and move the needle. And for me, yes, I want to release the 40 pounds, but I also feel like my bloating has gone down, my digestion is improving. And because I'm watching what's happening on the continuous glucose monitor, which I understand is data that not everybody else has, I was like, something good has to be happening, right?
Totally. Oh, it's totally happening. Well, because think about this. So let's go back to our little Uber, insulin is the Uber and glucose are the people arriving at the airport. Okay.
I'm so grateful for you. Thank you.
I love this conversation. I geek out on this too. All right. So what is GLP-1? Like, how does that, come into this whole conversation? Well, think about this. GLP-1 is the air traffic control. It's actually, if we're going to keep to the Ubers and we're going to keep to the people, it's the app. It's the communication.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, it's the app. It's the communication, because GLP-1 is a hormone. It's a receptor, right? It's a communication receptor is what it is. So it's the app. So the person arrives at the airport, we've got insulin as the Uber, and then it's the app in between. But on the large scale, right, it's the air traffic control going on a large scale. Because what it does is, GLP-1 is made also at the base of the brain. Okay. So it's not just, it's made in the gut. That hormone is made in the gut, and it's also made in the brain. Guess where it travels through? It actually travels through the vagus nerve, baby.
Wait. So I had someone told me yesterday, the scale's like not moved a ton for her, but she said to me, literally, I feel more grounded. Is that why? Because it's going, like, the vagus nerve is impacting people, like.
Yes.
Oh,
it's a huge conversation, which I'm still digging into this. So I'm not 100% on how the vagus nerve comes into it, but but how it's the base here is where the vagus nerve starts too, right? And then the vagus nerve flows out to all the organs, right? It's the largest cranial nerve, but it has to do with the nervous system, right? It has to do with it's fight or flight, it's calm, it does everything. But I know it's fascinating, but that's the communication. That's how it travels. So this is now the air traffic control, the GLP-1. So you're saying, oh my gosh, now my food noise. Okay, because what GLP-1 hormone does is it says, okay, I'm full, right? Okay, I don't need as much food, right? So, and it quiets all that crazy food noise is what we're talking about here, right? Yep. And think about that, like you can get, let's go to the extreme. You can completely help your Okay. Someone with type 2 diabetes, let's go all the way there. Someone that's completely metabolically unhealthy, let's call it that, because what it is,
Yeah.
which is completely reversible by fasting, eating no food, right? You could eat no food and take care of that situation. And now the air traffic control is going, hold on, hold on, hold on. We now have to go find glucose from where? Because not getting it from food. We're not getting it from food. We got to go find glucose. We still need energy. We've got to go get it from fats. We've got to go get it from
Um,
muscles. We've got to go get it from anywhere. If the heart has to pump still, it still has to go find glucose. And if you're not taking it in through your mouth, it's got to go find it somewhere. It's going to go get it from the fat. That's the storage, right? So if you're fasting, that's how I started off my journey. I had to get my blood sugar. I mean, I gained 40 pounds and it was obviously, it was from stress and a lot of other things too. But I had to now almost like shock my system, and I had to go into a fasting state. Now you don't go into a fasting state over and over and over, because you can go into a catabolic state and then lose your muscle, right? So you don't want that either, but just go there for a minute. So all of this is all connected. So as that quieting the food noise down, now you're not eating as much, you're not having as much traffic jams, right? We're not having all Ubers on deck and everyone's running around, and it's chaos is what it is. When we eat too much food and we put that in our body, it creates chaos. It's chaos, right? Air traffic controls are going, oh my gosh, this is way too much going on right now. All the planes are going to crash. All the Ubers are going to crash. Like, there is way too much. You eat a Sour Patch Kid on an empty stomach, unhappy everybody. Right?
So, okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
It's not even specific to GLP-1, but I noticed that when I fast, my blood sugar is higher.
Mm.
What does that mean?
Well, how long are you fasting?
Let's just say
What did you
18
say?
hours.
8 to 10 hours? And
Eight,
and
18,
how,
no, 18 hours.
18 hours.
Like,
Okay. How high? Higher meaning what? What does it go to? It's
um,
not in the 120s or anything, is it?
no, I
No.
mean, well, so this was before GLP-1. So before GLP-1, let's just put it all out there. I would say I was running, like, my baseline was 130, and a spike would put me up to 160, 70, 80, right?
Mhm.
180 was probably a higher spike, um, but what I noticed is that when I stopped, and so now with GLP-1, it's like it's still fluctuating. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're still like recalibrating.
Mhm.
So when I was having the hypoglycemic episodes, it was like hitting 60 sometimes, but that was when if I went too long without eating. That hasn't happened in a while. So I would say it's like hanging out, like, I don't know, in the 79 to like 110. 110 is like on the higher side. And a spike is going up to like, it can be from 110 to 130 is my spike now, whereas that was my baseline before.
Okay. Okay. So let's give a little context to this.
Okay.
Where you really should be, if someone doesn't know, on a CGM, right? So you should really be anywhere from 70 to 90.
Fasting.
Fasting, yes, fasting, and really, that's where you kind of want to hang out from 70
Yep.
to 90. Okay.
Yep.
Anything above 90, we're creeping into metabolic unhealthiness. Okay. We're
Yep.
creeping up a little too high. Okay. So we want to keep it down there. Anything lower, your body is just in a hypoglycemic state. It doesn't have, it's just doesn't know what to do with that. You can't repair anything else. So you want to be from about 70 to 90.
Yep.
Okay. So the fact that you were higher to begin with, you now are bringing that down into more healthy range. Do you
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? So now that you've brought it into a more healthy range, and it takes time, this is not overnight,
Yep.
right? This takes time. Your body has to, like, your Ubers have to get on the swing of it, right? Your glucose, everything, the people at the airport, everyone's got to get into a groove, right? The air traffic control's got to get into a groove, because if it's really out of control and it's really high and it's chaos, we've got to calm the chaos down.
Yep.
We've got to get it back into that. Okay, so that's that context, is that's where you really are aiming to be, is in there. Okay, so the fact that yours has been brought down is amazing. So now, if you have a spike, if you start at 110, your spike's going to go up to, it could go up to 150, it could go up to 200, it can go way too high, way too high. Do you see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
now, if you're starting where you should be and you have a spike, now if they're going into the 110s, the 114s, maybe 120s, and you can bring them down quickly, that's still, listen, you're not going to live your life without a spike, a glucose spike. It's very rare to do that. I mean, if someone's doing that, they're just like on it. I mean, it's crazy. But if it's staying out of the range for too long, is when it stresses your body out so dramatically. And so that's when it's going to fall also.
Okay.
I had a lifesaver. I was getting ready to speak, and there was on the table lifesavers, and I had no food in me. I was actually in a fasted state, and I was like, I just want to wet my lips a little, and I wanted to test it anyways.
Yeah.
That was the highest spike. It went up 40 something deciliters per, milligrams per deciliter, and it stayed out of the range for 45 minutes from one lifesaver.
One lifesaver.
One lifesaver. That's how much.
It's been such an interest. Like, I'm nerdy and I like the data, and having that CGM, even this summer before GLP was on board and like no one was even talking about it, I was just, again, from you trying to pay attention to it. Do you know what gave me the highest spike that was so eye-opening?
What?
A non-sugar coffee at Starbucks. The one that with the olive oil or whatever, I can't remember what it's called, but like I was actually trying to be good. And so what I realized is I think I spike from toxins too.
Well, it's a stress on the body. Yes. So think about that. So now we're not just talking food. You can go into a therapy session and be so much stress. I've done it, and it will spike because it sets off the fight or flight. Is that
why I spiked today during my workout with my trainer? Normal.
That's a different type of stress. Yes. And now also remember, when you work out, you are going to spike. You are going to raise your, it's not necessarily spike, but you're going to raise your glucose levels when you work out. Yes.
And that's not bad, right? Or
no, because the muscles are using that energy.
Yep.
They're using energy, I mean, it would be bad if for whatever reason somebody was working out and their glucose levels went to, 150. It was like, whoa, what something else is going on there. But no, you're going to have a gentle rise is awesome. You're going to have a little gentle rise, means you're using that energy. You're using that glucose. Okay. So, and how I found that out was I had blood sugar that would drop in the middle of the night. And I knew it. I was like, my blood sugar is pretty good in the day, but in the night it would go into the 40s.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then I'd go to get blood work done. So I'd get up, I'd move my body and get over to get my blood work done. And it was like 75. And they're like, your fasting glucose is perfect. And I'm like, something doesn't feel right. It wasn't until I wore a CGM to find out that no. So when you're moving.
And that's what I found. This is like a whole other episode and we should wrap it up. But I'm just going to say it's been very eye-opening. I pay out of pocket for my CGM because the doctors look at me and they're like, you're fine. And I was like, something's not fine. And so maybe we should just wrap it up. But like everyone should be proactive about their own health and read good energy. That's what Casey means. Everybody needs that.
Absolutely. I love it, Joy.
Charisse, this is amazing. You guys drop in the comments below if you have questions for Charisse. We can do a part 3. This has been so fun. I appreciate your time. Bye, you guys.
Thanks, Joy.